Now, let's take it from the top.
This is the Lowdown Sports Show.
Give me the lowdown.
With Drew.
I just heard your dad might already hate you, and I was like,
Yeah.
what, brother? Oh, man.
And BJ.
Yeah, he could be part of the mascot's entourage and be throwing T-shirts into the crowd.
And it all starts right now.
All right, welcome into another episode of the Lowdown Sports Show. I'm your host, Drew.
I'm BJ.
And we're here to get the lowdown on all things basketball. Got a good show planned for you guys today. Not going around the association, but still got some things to talk about in both the NBA and the WNBA. Got a referee that called it quits, and NBA said, we're not going to look into this anymore. NBA preseason schedule also came out. We're going to take a look at that a little bit and see if there's any interest there. WNBA MVP race heating up, and so is the race for the playoffs, the playoff picture. We're going to make our own playoff picture here on the Lowdown today, so a lot of good things in store. It's going to be fun, and before we get started, we want to make sure we show love to our partners, TeePublic, Fanatics, and SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a ticket app that takes the confusion out of buying tickets. You can buy sports tickets, concert tickets, and more. Use code THELOWDOWN in all caps to get $20 off your first order. And my man BJ, this show is presented by StatHead.
That's right, Drew, and StatHead is pleased to bring to us today our stat of the day. For the first time, I'm using StatHead to compare teams' all-time records, and so wanted to compare a couple of teams that, well, I mean, one is newer than the other. You'll see that here in just a second, but we're in the NBA. We're comparing the Dallas Mavericks to the Indiana Pacers. So the Pacers have played more games, so they have more wins, but the Mavericks have lost less, as you would imagine. They're pretty similar overall in terms of win-loss percentage all time. The Mavericks just a smidge behind the Pacers all time, in fact, with the Pacers with a 510 winning percentage and the Mavs at 505. But you would say that since the 2000s began, the Mavericks have definitely been the better team. Indiana has scored more points per game than the Mavericks have all time. The Mavericks have allowed less points per game.
What?
103.5.
Defensive stat?
103.5 points allowed per game is what the Mavericks have averaged in franchise history, while the Pacers have allowed 104.3 points per game on average. The Pacers have 12 more playoff appearances, 4 more finals appearances, and 2 more championships than the Mavericks do all time. But Mavericks, ever since the two teams started playing head-to-head, Mavericks have won 47 of the, well, let's count that up. That's, I believe, 83 games that the two teams have played all time. It's Mavericks are 47-36 in the head-to-head series.
Oh, beat them down.
The two teams. So,
okay. There we go.
Yeah.
A beauty. You still going?
So the Mavericks, I mean, they're ever since the 2000s began, have definitely been the better team, but Mavericks have a little bit of catching up to do in terms of in the win column and some of the other playoff categories as well. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if that gap continues to shrink. But that is our stat of the episode.
Hey, I like that. Some things that made me a little sad when you said championships and playoff appearances. I was like, oh, man.
I know.
But awesome. A beautiful stat of the episode, Mr. BJ. Thank you for that. And let's get right into it, into the NBA, BJ. Let's start off with this preseason schedule. Preseason schedule just dropped yesterday as we record here on a Thursday, of course. And I've got it here from Mr. Shams. Some people call him Shams. I'm not even totally positive which one it exactly is. You'd have to ask the man himself. It's probably a little bit hard to see on that screen, but showing it anyway for people with those impeccable eyes. NBA preseason. Whoa, is this the old one? Oh man.
Yeah, I was about to say that is
Dang.
that's
Wrong.
an old one.
We pulled up the wrong Shams one. No, well, let's pretend like that's not there. NBA preseason schedule dropped yesterday, and in the meantime, I will get back up the appropriate preseason schedule.
Well, I was looking at that and saying 12-11. That seems awfully late for the preseason.
Yeah. Here we go.
I did see that the Mavericks are playing the Timberwolves as a part of the first 2 games of the preseason over in Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
So those will be something to look forward to here when we get to October, which is just about a month away, Drew.
Yeah, man, it's coming real fast. We got some key games on here, BJ. A lot of people don't look a whole lot into preseason, and typically we don't. But, for us, BJ, at least there's something for us to look into. And we've got some young Mavericks that we definitely want to check out in preseason to make sure are going well here. I forgot to mention this video to you. I didn't see it on Twitter, so it wasn't in my bookmarks when I made the look back for that. But I saw it recently. Mark Cuban was on the Pat Bev podcast, which I didn't know Pat Bev had.
Wow.
A podcast.
Yeah, I didn't know he had a podcast either.
Yeah. So Cuban was on there, and he was talking about the roles from some players last year. They weren't, locked into doing those roles. Kind of like the opposite of what the team before did that got to the conference finals. Everybody was locked in on those roles, and we had Dodo, Bullock, and all those other players that we don't have anymore. And Brunson, everybody was locked into their roles, and we made the conference finals. He was talking about how the team this past year was not like that at all. Kyrie and Luka had their deal. They knew their roles. They did their thing, and it wasn't a problem of them. But it was, most of the other cast members that didn't know their roles. Not everybody probably per se, but from the majority of the team, I would say. And we want to make sure these guys have it ironed out and they're ready to go. Some people are going to be relied on for instant buckets off the bench, Mr. Jaden Hardy. So we got to see if you can get buckets in the preseason. I mean, we've seen, Summer League, but Summer League is Summer League. Would you agree that there's a slight step up in preseason play compared to the Summer League's play?
Well, of course there is. I mean, you're going to see more players involved in the preseason than you do in the Summer League. It's just one of those things that as you get, as you get closer to the season, the vets start to, kind of wind things back up and get themselves back in that, get closer and closer to full speed. But it's, so you're not seeing that in the Summer League is when you only have just the young bloods, the rookies, the second year, third year vets in the past couple of years at least that are the only ones playing in the summer leagues. I mean, how are you going to tell me that the summer league is going to prepare you for if you find yourself switched on to LeBron James, old head at age, almost 40? How's that going to help you based on what you had in the summer league? It's not. LeBron's not going to, blow past you and posterize you in the preseason, but he will when it comes to the regular season for sure. So it's just one of those things that, you're going to see more veteran presence. You're going to see, some of these players that aren't involved in the summer league, and you're going to get more camaraderie, and you're going to be working with your teammates as opposed to your teammates are going to be there, or sometimes your teammates are going to be there in the summer league just to be presence and everything like that, and you get to have like some social interactions, but you don't get to build that the dynamics and the relationships until you get closer and closer to the season starting. Once the training camps begin here in the next couple weeks, if I had to if they aren't getting pretty close to beginning already, as teams get ready for the start of the season. So yeah, it's definitely a step up.
Yeah, at least a little bit. And you talked about as we continue our talk about the Mavericks, you led off with talking about the Abu Dhabi game. They're playing against Minnesota on October
both times. Yeah.
Yes. And October 5th and October 7th. And those are both noon Eastern starts. They're also getting to travel to Real Madrid,
Yeah.
Jay, and play out where Luka came from and dominated so much from.
Yeah, I
How
saw
awesome
that
is
too.
that got put on the schedule by a Cuban. Cuban doesn't do a whole lot of, man. That's some really cool stuff. Well, he does some, but this is one of those like, man, you get to have a game back there. That's awesome.
I was to say that's those are the 3 games that I saw on that preseason schedule. So it looks like the Mavericks are only playing, they're not going to play a game in the continental US or even in North America until the season actually starts.
No, they got one home game.
I didn't see it on that schedule that you had posted.
I could have sworn.
I'll double check maybe, but I saw the 2 Abu Dhabi games. I saw the matchup against Real Madrid. Let me see if I can.
Wait, no, there was a second page. My fault. Yes, yeah, because I swear I saw Mav's social tweet this because there's like they said like one game at the house. Yeah, it's Detroit, October 20th, Detroit at Dallas.
Okay. Yeah, I had to scroll.
Yeah, and this actually has 2 pages. So like, don't you? I misled you guys into thinking that it was only 1 page worth of preseason schedule.
You put that beautiful second page up right there.
And a little 1, and then a 2.
Another 2.
So it's going from the 5th to the 20th, 15 days worth of NBA preseason.
Yeah, I was to say it seemed like that was just not a whole lot of time in the preseason, but 4 games. They do get 1 in the crib, as you mentioned there on the 20th, but it gives them plenty of time because they've got the 2 games in Abu Dhabi on the 5th. And on the 8th or on the 7th, I think, actually. Let me see if I can get that pulled back up. And then they got almost 2 weeks off, with the exception being the Madrid game, which I'm pretty sure Real Madrid, that game is, when is that? That's on the 12th of October?
10th. And it's going to be 8:45 our time.
Yeah, gotcha.
So they'll play the game at home. Where'd that go? 10 days later.
Yeah, so they'll have quite a bit of time to get back from, from overseas and get reacclimated. Get rid of that jet lag or anything like that, and have plenty of time to get back in conditioning, everything like that as they get ready for that last preseason game before the season actually starts, not too long after that. So
yeah, and the difference here between like an NFL preseason and an NBA preseason is I don't really think you're going to see any of those all NBA guys play a lick of preseason. I can't harken back to history and just kind of recollect it. How many franchise players, got in preseason games. I mean, there's only 4. And I mean, is it worth risking, like a Luka Doncic or a Kyrie in any single preseason game? Luka's going to play in Madrid, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
Probably touch the floor in Abu Dhabi because it's just because that kid likes to play basketball. And you ain't gonna hardly be able to tell Luka to get off the floor.
I was just say, and helping to sell the game over there in Abu Dhabi is why you're going to
play in that.
I would imagine
that's the one game he plays. It's that
you'll see both Kyrie and Luka. I would imagine hit the court at least for a couple of touches each in the first quarter of Abu Dhabi, and then they'll sit the rest of the game.
Well, let me backtrack on myself. I feel like they played a little bit more. I don't know. I don't watch preseason, so I can't just confirm this. But if you're thinking like for these players, like you don't want to play them too much. I mean, you're all NBA guys are the ones that you want to. Key in on. You probably want to reserve some all-stars too, because not everybody that was an all-star was all NBA. Yeah. But I mean, it's not that many guys to sit out and miss some preseason, but you would think like they'd throw in at least a quarter at home, maybe. Luka plays. Oh man, do you think he's gonna try and squeeze in the whole Real Madrid preseason? No, maybe like a half's worth.
They'll play him for a half and kind of get him a lot of reception, but
like a few minutes each quarter or something.
Maybe that could be that.
Yeah, like a handful of minutes, like 5 minutes each quarter. Luka.
Even then, I think
Play
that's too
20
much.
minutes. That is a lot, yeah.
I think it would be
2 and a
played
half each quarter,
3
so like
minutes.
10 minutes
Yeah.
total in the game.
I was thinking 3 minutes total, like about 12
3
total.
total? Okay.
So you basically get about a quarter, but you space it out.
Okay. That's not
So-
bad then. That may be what they do just to make things easy like that. But yeah, not going to be a ton of action from the superstars in preseason. You'll see players pop in that are just basketball heads that want to hoop. But some you won't see at all. And that's probably going to be the same for your number one pick. I don't know if you call these guys superstars yet. I almost said superstar. Wemby,
The superstar
number
rookies.
1, he's going to play. There will probably be about a handful of games or so for the Spurs, but he's not going to play all 5 games. Why would you do that? You're probably going to limit him the way you would limit, a top guy like that because you just drafted your franchise player. So
he'll get more than he did in the summer league, but he's not touching the court for the entirety of a game.
Right. So he'll have his limitations too. So, but there are things that teams want to see out of preseason guys, just to make sure that guys are ready for the season to be in the regular rotation. And that's where the shift in minutes is going to be decided from the rest of the pecking order on the teams. Aside from the starting lineup, they know mostly what they got. Some people are in limited roles, like back in the past, Dwight Powell would sometimes play 10 minutes, sometimes he'll play 25. But we're looking for guys like Jaden Hardy to come out and really show stuff in the preseason, or show the flashes that he showed in summer league actually glue together in the preseason so that he can be trusted in the regular season, because we need to be able to trust him. And Josh Green playing in World Cup play right now with his new teammate Dante Exum. Hopefully that gels pretty well as they go on. Thank goodness that they're from the same country and they get to play with it.
It helps. It helps for sure.
Yes, and early chemistry, and and those are going to be some guys that'll see a lot of time with each other. Dante's a guard who's going to be coming off the bench, and Josh Green, if he has the starting role, it may not always finish with the starters, and he may play a lot with backup roles when Dante's in together. And especially with this Australian chemistry, it could be something that you want to see more. So, it's great to have those things in place like that. I'm just over here giving Mavericks examples. There's a whole bunch around the league. We already talked about Wemby, and there's a lot of young cores. I wish I had saved the picture now that we're digging into this part of it. But there's 8 different young cores in the league of kind of ranking them, like
OKC, for instance, Detroit,
Detroit. Man, now that I'm bringing it up,
Sacramento, maybe.
Well, I don't know.
They've got a young core. I don't know if they're on there, but
I think Toronto might have been in there.
maybe.
I don't remember. There was 8 of them.
Orlando has to be.
Orlando, yes, definitely Orlando. But yeah, there was about 8 teams on there. But you want something from those guys to touch some preseason, make sure everybody's ready in game shape. Because you can go out there, you can be all right in practice. You think your guy's going to be good, and they go out there and be gassed through, half a quarter. So some of it's conditioning for players going in that didn't get enough coming in, or but if you're coming off a World Cup play and things like that, you probably don't need a whole lot of preseason work as far as to get in shape. Because you're already in it, because you're playing high-level basketball right now. And you'll fit in seamlessly if you're a Josh Green and a Dante Exum. But guys like Jaden Hardy, haven't played since Summer League a little bit. Maybe he's doing some off-season work. I mean, more than likely he's doing some off-season work. But it's not a full game speed. It's not full game speed. Even preseason speed's a little bit faster than, of course, Summer League. Everything gets a little bit faster progressively. Playoffs probably, a little bit faster than the regular season, NBA players would say. So, it's just, we got to see some things from a lot of different players, from some different teams. Let me pop this back up just to look at some other teams that, and we got about 5 games that'll be on ESPN or TNT, a ton of games that are going to be on NBA TV, but, one ESPN game is Philly at Boston. We've also got, and that is, Philly at Boston, October 8th. And then Denver at Phoenix on TNT on the 10th. And then back-to-back games in the same day, October 13th, Miami at San Antonio, Jimmy Butler and Wemby. And then Golden State at the Lakers. I mean, do I have to say it? on ESPN2. And then there's one more ESPN2 game, I believe, on the second back of the schedule. Oh, no, there's three.
I've got two ESPN games right here on the 15th.
So there's two more ESPN games, Milwaukee at LA, and then Golden State at Sacramento, both on ESPN on the 15th. And then an ESPN2, Denver at the Clippers on the 17th. Those are the non-NBA TV, national TV games. And you got to hope that those young teams that we mentioned, teams like the Thunder, the Rockets, Detroit, and all those among the youth, the Spurs that are rising and trying to get players in here, that you can see that everybody's healthy and that they give you what you want in preseason.
Absolutely, yeah.
I feel like I've ended up rambling a little bit on this preseason stuff. BJ,
more than we intended to.
Yeah, feel free to interject, but I was trying to lean on the Mavericks for the most part of this because that's where my interest is going to lie. I'm going to watch those games. If any in full, those will be the ones.
I was to say, I think I'll tune in for a little bit just because it's like, hey, it's new basketball, and even though it's just kind of preseason, the environment of Abu Dhabi is something that'll be interesting to see. Luka and Real Madrid scoring off against each other. Those are things to be invested in, and then outside of that, there is a reason to be interested in each of the four Mavericks preseason games to a certain extent, more so than what you'd say for a team that's playing just kind of NBA opponents home and away over the course of those 10 days, 15 days, playing 4 or 5 of those kind of preseason games. There's maybe not as much interest in some of those otherwise, but it does vary differently team to team in terms of what is interesting, because for some of these teams, as opposed to kind of watching for the preseason, you'll be perfectly content to wait and see what they'll look like and how everything shapes up when the rosters and the minutes are fully determined and everything like that. When the season truly starts, is when there will be more time to be invested. But for the Mavericks, the perfect discrepancy or perfect minutes distribution that I can think of. We were talking about Dwight Powell earlier. 48 minutes for him in the preseason game, 0 in the regular season. That's a perfect trade-off for me. Obviously a joke, but no. So it's really going to be interesting to see what what comes of it with some of these guys that are proving for roster spot, fighting for each and every minute that they can earn it when the games start to truly matter. And especially like you said, from the Mavericks perspective, there is legitimately reason to be interested in just the environments, the Real Madrid game especially, and then the last game before the season starts is against Detroit, which is you were talking about the good young cores in the league. You probably, since that's the last preseason game before the regular season starts, you will see as close to the starting lineup for both of those teams in that game, I would imagine. And then they'll alternate and give some more minutes. But by that point, Drew, almost all of the minutes will probably have been determined. And so that'll be the closest to a regular season game that you'll see before the regular season actually starts on the 24th, with those couple games on TNT between the Lakers and the Nuggets, and of course Phoenix and Golden State, with everybody else getting going the next night, with Dallas being down in San Antonio on the 25th.
I found a picture of the young cores. I don't think it's exactly what I had seen because it doesn't feel like it. No, I'm not gonna even get into it.
That's all right. We still got stuff to talk about. So
yeah, very true, very true, very true. So we'll get away from this preseason stuff here. The NBA, BJ, was recently doing some investigating into one of their referees for, I believe it was a burner account that he had having some tweets off. It's probably deep buried in my bookmarks, but he was under investigation for that in the beginning, and I can't remember the timeline of how long it's been at this point, but it doesn't feel like it's been that long of when it started. So
It was
I
back.
want to
It was
say,
back in May, I think.
has it
when
been
this
that
started.
long? Is time going by fast on me?
Yeah, it has. It has, but I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
it's also
yeah.
been.
It
He
says
didn't work the
before the
finals,
Yeah,
so
before the finals, some now deleted tweets were revealed by a pair of then Twitter users that appeared to show a referee defending himself and other officials against critiques of their work. Yep.
was he defending Scott Foster? Because I mean, that's something that's like, yeah, that's got to be a
No,
referee.
because that would have been an immediate red flag because I mean they were
Exactly.
buddies. But I
Yeah.
mean apparently like everybody that seems to get in trouble as a referee is buddies Scott Foster.
Oh, has to be. Yeah.
How crazy is that, right?
But I can't imagine why. It says, if this was Fisher, or sorry, not Fisher. I don't know where I got Fisher. If this was Lewis that was tweeting, it was, it would have been in an unauthorized manner. But if it was him, where do you get the name Blair Cutliff from? I like that's that really is something that
Blair.
interesting. I mean, Cutliff sounds like a player name at least, but so they dropped the investigation just because he no longer works for the league, Drew?
Yeah, that's what happened, BJ. I got that notification on my phone and I was just baffled that like you can do that? Like you're mid investigation, buddy calls it quits. And you're like, all right, well, we're good. He's gone. We don't have to worry about that anymore.
Well, I mean,
NBA being like, all right, well, let's move on.
If he's no longer going to be officiating, then it really doesn't matter if he's talking about officiating in any form or facet, though. It's the only thing I can say that I would, even remotely say could be used as a defense of him. If this was truly him, the biggest issue is not that he had a burner account in the first place. It's that he was tweeting about officiating while as an official himself. If he's no longer an official, it doesn't matter what he says because he's just like you or me, Drew. If we weren't on there and we're tweeting about, if, like we said, Scott Foster or Eric Lewis is officiating, it wouldn't have affected us because, we don't work for the league. We're not a player. We're not an official. We're not a coach or anything like that. We're not in the front office. So we can say we have a little bit more, ability to criticize if it is warranted or to defend a referee and everything like that, because we're not involved in that. And I think that's at the end of the day what the biggest issue was. Now that he's retired, it's like, well, I mean, you could continue the investigation, find out whether it's him or not, but it doesn't really truly matter if it is or not, because
no longer an employee.
Yeah, it's no longer, he's no longer subject to the rules and bylaws of working for the league.
Officially, NBA referee Eric Lewis has informed the league office that he is retiring effective immediately. In light of his decision, the NBA's investigation into social media activity has been closed. So now I wonder, once this came about, BJ, I was like, what? You can what? You can do that? I was just thinking like, man, like all the older NBA players that got in trouble in like later in their career, all the athletes that got in trouble later in their career, like, why don't you just retire?
I seem to remember.
Got away with it.
You remember the baseball player Manny Ramirez, Drew?
Yeah.
I remember late in his career, they were going to suspend him because he either failed a drug test or like it was, he was alleged to have failed a drug test.
Wasn't he still in his 20s?
What's that?
Was he still in his 20s when he did this too?
It was just at the end of his career. He was supposed to be getting ready to face like a 70-game suspension or 75-game suspension, and instead of that, he just went ahead and retired, and so he didn't have to face the suspension and everything like that to worry about, because he had decided at that point, it's like, well, not only is it not really worth it at that age, but to wait out 75 games when you've maybe got one season left, you might as well just go ahead and call it a career. So I don't know. Maybe Lewis thought that he was going to be, missing a significant amount of time this season if they continued the investigation, and he wasn't really planning on working too much longer as an official. But I mean, once you decide I don't want to work for your company anymore, anything that is anything that you are supposed to abide by company rules, company laws, if you will, is no longer applicable. So, it's crazy that we're not going to get the answers, because it does seem like that's something that should at least be addressed. But for him, at least, it won't matter.
Yeah,
Unless unless he says, okay, I unretire, I want to come back for another season. And that's like, well, you probably can't.
I don't think they could could they even reopen that once he came back?
They're not going to delete all the stuff that they found. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
So if he decides he wants to come back, they'll still have all that. And I mean, maybe they have enough evidence that they could, say, no, you can't come back.
Oh man, I just thought of something hilarious. Do you want to go ahead and hear it?
Yeah, go for it.
I think I should make that my fantasy basketball name for this season. Blair Cutlass.
The Blair Cutlass.
Oh, I will hope somebody would get that without me saying anything. Blair Cutlass.
Well, I was going to say, now that you said it on here, it probably will be.
It's gonna be a thing now.
I don't know. It has to be. It has to be a thing, but at least you and I will know if that's what you go with. So,
but that is pretty crazy that could happen like that. And I totally forgot about Manny just quitting. But like, I don't know, like, where would you be if like you were younger in your career? And like, I wonder if Eric Lewis probably had some more things behind the curtain he didn't want to get looked at, as well as they were just looking at.
That's true. That is possible.
Like, who knows? He might have been in the same situation. What's his face? I can't remember that referee that had the Netflix show that got in trouble a long time ago.
Was it Tim Doherty or
something like that? You're on the right track. Is that how you say his name?
I thought it was the one that was gambling.
Yeah,
I thought it was.
And everybody's just buddies with Scott Foster, coincidentally. I get it. You're all old like that. You've all been refereeing for a while. I mean, you're all referees. You hang out with each other. But everybody just happens to be his best buddy. Like, everybody's just like, nobody just thinks Scott Foster's all right. Like, it's like, man, Scott's all right and everything like that. Like, those guys, I wouldn't be like, okay, he's definitely not fixing games. He doesn't like Scotty over here. I trust that.
Because Scott knows where the bodies are buried. The berries are bodied.
Knows it all, and nobody's going to mess with Scott. He's like the Heisenberg out there. Well, we know how.
Say his name.
Yeah, gay. There you go.
Scott Foster. Say his name.
Scotty Foster.
I'm Scotty Foster.
Man.
And the series is going 7.
Somehow Eric Lewis beat the case, flying into retirement off of 19 seasons in the NBA, just coasting. But you thought you got me. Scandal free. Retire. Done.
I was to say, so he wasn't selected to work the finals because they were investigating. Worked over 1,200 games as an official, and he was about to enter his 20th season as a referee.
It could have been some LeBron stuff. Year 20.
Yeah, that would have been a nice round number to go out on, but I imagine that it had to be that he knew he wasn't going to be able to officiate a good portion of the season based on whatever they had told him or found out or whatnot. And so he's just like, you know what? I was going to call it after 20, but 19's not too bad either.
That's what happens when you break the NBA's rule of commenting on officiating on your burner account. I
was to say, now he can comment all he wants on it.
It's so unfortunate. I wish this kind of stuff would happen to somebody in like the prime of their career. I don't wish that actually, but just to see if somebody would like abruptly like retire for real. Like, how good in your career do you have to be like, yeah, I guess I'll go. I can be at peace and retire right now. Like, if you're an NBA player that's got a championship, okay, you're probably good. Probably good. But if LeBron, let's just say LeBron came across a scandal in, let's go 2007, in the midst of that run to the finals that year. He hadn't gotten an MVP yet. The chosen one. Do you retire right there and just mail all that in?
No, he would
probably get caught though. But you're probably in the wrong though, and you're gonna get caught. You didn't got caught.
I was to say, how bad can the punishment be? They're not going to force him out if he's a marketable superstar. Like,
but it's probably enough for the punishment levels. Eric Lewis has got to know it's enough for him to just be like, okay, let me just quit before I miss the next season.
If they had come out like 10 years ago, I don't know if he would have, Drew. I mean, we're talking like if you're talking about LeBron or Eric Lewis, if we're talking about earlier in their careers. you could continue to claim innocence all throughout, continue to fight it, and ultimately be like, okay, whatever the punishment is, I serve it, I've done my time, and keep going on, no question about it. But for at this point in his career, he's like, you know what, it's not worth the fight.
What if, like, same thing for like Manny, in the midst of him becoming a household name, what if this pops up and he fails that test and like, boom, 100 games, you can't even finish this season, what could have been an MVP season or whatever.
Well, you saw it with Fernando Tatis Jr. He's just come back this season from like a half a season suspension or something like that because of performance enhancing drugs. So it does still happen, and I don't think that anybody necessarily at that point in their career would retire. You have to grin and bear it sometimes if you want to continue to be associated with the league.
Well, Eric Lewis beat the case. He made it out alive, and he's in happy retirement. Lucky him. And now it's time for BJ's Best.
That's right, Drew. Well, coming up this weekend, Drew, it is Labor Day weekend. In fact, on Monday, it'll be
bless the Lord for an off
Labor Day Monday. I work Monday, but it's okay because I'll be off by lunchtime. I've got, I get some extra perks for working a holiday, so I'm okay. Yeah, definitely. I'm okay with that. I don't mind it because it's not, it's very low stress. I'm usually when I work a holiday, I'm usually one of the very few, if not the only one, that is up there at that time working holidays. And so I kind of wanted to go over what Labor Day, kind of the origins of it. So obviously we know that it's always the first Monday of September that Labor Day is observed. It's the annual celebration of the social and economic achievements of American workers. It is rooted back in the late 19th century when labor activists pushed for a federal holiday to recognize the many contributions that workers have made to America's strength, prosperity, and well-being. Interestingly enough, before it was a federal holiday, Labor Day was recognized by labor activists and in some individual states, but New York was the first state to introduce a bill back in 1885, 1886 to honor the workers and to give them a full day in recognition. But it was actually Oregon that was the first to pass a law recognizing Labor Day back in February of 1887. During that calendar year, 4 more states, Colorado, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and New York, would end up passing laws creating a Labor Day holiday. And by the end of the 1880s, Connecticut, Nebraska, and Pennsylvania had followed suit. By 1894, it was already up to 23 additional states at that point had adopted the holiday. And so, on June the 28th of 1894, Congress passed an act making the first Monday in September of each year a legal holiday. In terms of who came up with the idea, there are 2 workers that make a solid claim to being the father of Labor Day, or founder, I guess is what you would say.
Labor Day Papa.
Yes, Labor Day Papa. So it says that back in 1882, some records show Peter J. McGuire, who was a general secretary of the Brotherhood of Carpenters and Joiners and a co-founder of the American Federation of Labor, had suggested setting aside a day for a general holiday for the laboring classes to honor those who from rude nature have delved and carved all the grandeur we behold. That's a direct quote from McGuire. But Peter McGuire's place in Labor Day history has not been without its challenges. Many believe that it was machinist Matthew McGuire, not Peter McGuire. So Mick, as the way to differentiate, founded the holiday. The research recently shows that it was Matthew McGuire, who was the secretary of Local 344 of the International Association of Machinists over in Paterson, New Jersey, proposed the holiday back in 1882 while serving as secretary of the Central Labor Union of New York. It says, according to the New Jersey Historical Society, after President Cleveland signed the law creating a National Labor Day, the Paterson Morning Call published an opinion piece stating that the souvenir pin should go to Alderman Matthew McGuire of this city, who is the undisputed author of Labor Day as a Holiday. Both McGuire and Mick Guire attended the country's first Labor Day parade in New York City of that year. So a little bit of intrigue, a little bit of controversy in terms of who was the one that came up with the idea. But it is still one of those that, it is a much needed day off. And for a lot of people, obviously it's a federally recognized holiday. And just like some of the others that we have on the calendar, it is one that, they're not necessarily much that you would, remember or, have to like feel sad about by taking a day off. Obviously, going back throughout the years, Labor Day used to be the last true day of summer because most school districts would start right after Labor Day. They'd start the Tuesday after Labor Day, and that would be the first day of school. Now that's kind of gone by the wayside, where you've had school starting earlier and earlier into the month of August, whether they should or not, but they still will get out of school by Memorial Day, so that you do have a good, decent chunk of change for summer vacation. But the start of the college football season was when they were planning that around. They actually have it in NCAA handbook. The NCAA handbook says that the season cannot start until the Saturday or the week just before the start of the Labor Day holiday. So you'll see this weekend, in fact, starting tonight, the games going for 5 straight whole days, because that's been at least established in the NCAA handbook. There are certain differences in terms of like exemptions and everything like that, exceptions that can be made. But this is the reason why we have football starting up this year or this week every year, is because it is a law, and it goes back to the creation of Labor Day. So
okay, a little history lesson of BJ's.
Little history lesson with Labor Day on the minds, and I was like, it could go a couple different routes with it, with football season starting. But I did football last week, and I was like, I want to do something different. I don't think we talked about the origins of Labor Day before here on this podcast, so kind of really interesting. If you want more information, I found all of that from the U.S. Department of Labor, so you can kind of check them out online and read through some more about the creation of Labor Day, and maybe we can figure out once and for all who truly is responsible for the adoption and the idea of a day for those of the working class,
right?
The laborers.
Is it Mick Guire or is it Mugwire?
Mick or Ma Guire. It's somebody Guire, but
only time
we don't know who. They're probably related. They probably had the same thought at the same time, even though it is different spellings. I mean,
maybe. Oh well, I don't know about relation.
It's
you
like
never know.
Maybe Mugwire's family decided to keep their name the same way when they immigrated over, and Mick Guire had to change it at Ellis Island or something.
Yeah, that's very possible. Who knows? That's
BJ's best, Drew.
That is indeed BJ's best. It's a good BJ's best.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir. I mean, you're telling people to go check out things online if they want to look into it further. I need them to check online as well, BJ. And they can do that by clicking the link in our description. If they want to go shop with our partners at TeePublic or Fanatics, and we told you about SeatGeek to start off this episode. And now it's time to talk about TeePublic, though. TeePublic, they've got everything you need as far as merch. And, buddy, let me tell you, right now, unfortunately, they're not on sale. If you missed the sale last week, I feel bad for you. But you can still get the gift of free shipping on orders $80 or more, ladies and gentlemen. You're looking to get that fix of sports and that morning coffee in the morning. Snag a mug with the Lowdown logo on it and stop and shop at the link in the description down below and get yourself hooked up.
Yeah, that's right, Drew. If you want to get some back to school merch, if you're just starting back, or with the start of college football season tonight, with at least this weekend, there's so many teams that weren't in action last week are going to be playing this week. You can shop over at Fanatics, and right now, for the rest of the day, if you're watching live on a Thursday, you can get free shipping in the U.S. if you spend $24 or more. Free U.S. shipping on all orders over the $24. They've got all kinds of new gear in time for the NFL and college football seasons. In fact, Drew, we were talking about it last week. There's been so much that's come out this week. They've rolled out some crucial catch headwear for the NFL. They've got those NFL WWE title belts. They launched those. Even the MLB has launched their Darius Rucker collection this weekend. And just today, Drew, Nike Air Max footwear, the NCAA launched. So you can get some new Nike gear over at Fanatics. It's been just kind of so cool to see these designs. They're featured prominently on front and center on Fanatics' website. So free shipping in the U.S., $24 or more. Use the promo code 24SHIP. Again, that's 24 hours only, and the clock is ticking. As of right now, you've still got a little bit of over 8 hours in store to get your savings, but it's fanatics.com, and it's officially licensed everything. And now it's time to find out, as we do each and every week, Drew, what is on your mind this week, my friend?
Well, Mr. BJ, what's on Drew's mind this week is it's right here on my chest. Dakota State football, ladies and gents. Dakota State football. And I had to scrap the original What's on Drew's Mind because this is the whole reason we were late today. Dakota State football, and that's my fault for doing some last-minute prep as we've got a Thursday game here tonight on the second week of the season. Very, very unorthodox, if you ask me.
I was to say, you played a game last week, and now you're playing on a Thursday night?
Correct. Yes, I had a Saturday game, and now we're on a Thursday.
That is weird.
Turnaround.
That's weird.
Turnarounds, yes, I know. But there's a bright side to it because it gives your boy a 3-day weekend that he ended up missing out on a couple of weeks ago for his birthday. I had to call a game on a Saturday. That Saturday was now ripped away from this weekend, so I can get a 3-day weekend now. So that's great. But
look at you.
Yes, indeed, man. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy it because I'm gonna lose sleep tonight, but yeah. I got plenty of time to make up.
I would say once you get home tomorrow, you're gonna sleep till Tuesday.
Man, I'm gonna be tired for sure because you gotta get up bright and early. But what's on the mind is Dakota State football, man. I mean, obviously, BJ, this is my first year doing college football. The first of many sports that I'm going to be doing throughout the course of this year. I'm gonna rue basketball season. Got 2 teams now. It's going to be 4 once that starts. 2 high school, 2 college. It's going to get nuts. But right here in the midst of football season, preparing for this game and just Dakota State football on the mind, man. I think, we've got a tall task tonight in Wisconsin lacrosse. A really good football team. They got a coach of the year from last year. They won 9 games. They're bringing back a lot of talent. Not as many of their all-conference players. Some of those guys graduated and moved on, but they're still bringing back some talent. They played us twice, and in the past 2 meetings, they've scored 42 points on us every time. Each time, I should say. But I've got some faith in us, man. I mean, we're a little beat up in some ways. I mean, a quarterback that started for us last week isn't playing this week or tonight, I should say. And some other guys a little bit hurt. And it's only 1 weekend. And there's a lot of things that got to get in motion because conference play is next week. Conference play is next Saturday. I mean, you got 9 days. I mean, it's a good little break before you get right into conference play, but you got to get something going here. Regardless of if you pull a nice little upset on a, I don't know if you can call them a powerhouse yet. Probably under this guy's era, he's 18-5 as a head coach and starting into his 4th season. But I mean, got a big time D3 team that you can beat here for some momentum. You're gonna have the home crowd on your side. I mean, you got a different quarterback in here. Regardless, I mean, he's one of those tall ones that can see. Right there with the line and above it. I mean, some of the guys are a little bit tall as him or as tall at 6'5", but I think there's some potential here to win this game, And talking to coach this week, He was talking about last year and what went wrong when they gave up 35 points in the second quarter to this team. It was just him just trying to try some different things and speed up the plays and everything like that. And things fell out of sorts. Pick six happened. And, a lot of points got scored in just a few minutes. So I think it seems like it's probably one of those winnable scenarios because it was scoreless after one quarter. So the defense held up. Defense seems like it's going to be pretty stout again this year. Held the team last week to beat them 23-13 to just about 76 rushing yards. So the rush defense is stout. Just got to work out on some things in the secondary. I think those got fixed in the past week. I mean, less than a week, as a matter of fact, because just had to switch some guys in some positions there. They made the adjustments. 2 different starters on defense tonight and 1 different starter offensively. And as long as things just, go according to plan, well, in my mind, go as they're supposed to. Nobody does a little bit too extra, and everybody just follows the game plan. I see a path to a victory here, and it sure is the way to open up a game on a field that you'll only be playing on for 1 year, but to continue your winning ways at home that you've had over the past several years. I believe it was either in at the field in general, or it was in Coach Anderson's era. I can't remember which one. Don't beat me up for this one, but they had a 35-31 record at home at Trojan Field. So pick up where you left off with the old field that got torn down and to make new for next year. Keep on winning. I've got my keys to the game, but I'm going to save them because I don't want to fire them off right now.
Well, I was going to say, we feel like you're getting a good glimpse of what the pregame show is going to be.
Yeah, getting a little glimpse of the pregame show, just a tad here.
How are we able to watch or listen, Drew?
Well, I mean, we're gonna be you can listen on Jammin' Country 103. We got a live link on our website. They're gonna have a YouTube stream up. They're gonna be connected to us tonight. So I mean, you can catch me either way. Should be tonight. And
awesome.
I mean, if you can't catch it on the YouTube, like I said, you can catch it on Jammin' Country 103. We've got the action live pregame beginning at 6:30 and kickoff at 7:05. It is the 8th annual Ag Bowl tonight.
Okay.
So
sounds like a good old rivalry game.
Yes. Then. Well, not necessarily a rivalry because they whipped our butts the 2 times we bet them. But we own the Ag Bowl 5-2 so far. And
awesome.
The only thing we don't have within the Ag Bowl is a 3-game winning streak. We've had 2 of them. We've had the first one cut short. It was by Briar Cliff back in 2019. It was 49-20. Look at me go. And they're on a 2-game right now, and if they win, it'll be the first 3-game win streak in the little Ag Bowl tenure through 8 games of it so far.
All right.
So we'll see what they can do tonight, and got faith in the team going forward. It's the defense. The defense is going to lead the way all season. I can tell you that right now. Just primarily because of the young quarterbacks that you have in here. Your senior, he got hurt, and your guy last week. He's not playing this week. He's going to get back into it, in the weeks to come, but it'll be a battle from this point forward, especially depending on what Mr. Brady Dandenbring can do tonight for the Trojans. I mean, if he can lead them to a victory, might be his job, you know what I'm saying? And who knows? I mean, it'll definitely heat things up as far as the competition goes throughout the course of the season, but always hoping for a Trojan win, no matter who the starter is at quarterback. Frankly, just want some good momentum. Want to see smiles on the guys' faces after the game, and have good energy in the practice. Come and know that they can slide into conference play with some confidence. So
absolutely,
just happy about the football game. Excited to get into game 2 of the season, and hopefully call a win tonight. But on Drew's mind this week, Dakota State Trojan football.
Wonderful. Well, also before we want to move on, I want to give a shout out to first game in the Clint Dozell era for our alma mater. Hosting a ranked FCS team, UC Davis tonight.
Tough.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, it'll be tough. They got UC Davis this week. They're at Sacramento State next week, and then I think they've got a bye week before they go to Old Dominion, who's FBS ranks. But that Old Dominion game might be their I don't know. I'm not saying easiest game out of conference, but I don't know. To me, at least, it feels like a winnable game. but they're going to be good defensively. Want to see what they've got offensively tonight. And so good luck to the Lions.
And while we're talking about the Lions for right now, I've got a minor connection with Sulphur Springs through the Lions now. I've got a former player whose games I used to call. His name's Nick Cantillo. Shout out my boy Nick. And he, I believe he's redshirted this year because I checked on the roster, didn't see a number beside, of course, in a picture. So I believe he's going to be redshirted for the season. But he's on the team, so looking forward to seeing what he does as a Lion and his tenure whenever he gets his opportunity. So shout out to Nick and those old Wildcats who are 1-0 out there, hopefully going to 2-0 this week. And I got a game day tomorrow. Don't want to leave my new Bulldogs out of the equation either. Hope they come out with a dub as well. They should. And,
we got a dub last week in a big way. I don't know if I told you what the final score ended up being.
Oh no,
64-10.
Oh man,
I know.
That's a way to debut in there and put the smack down your old team like that.
It was definitely something that I was not expecting. I'll tell you that.
64. Oh, so you got a squad. So that makes you more. We'll talk more about this football.
Yeah, we'll talk tomorrow probably.
Yeah, we're rolling into too much football here. Anyway, we're sliding in.
How about we talk about the WNBA MVP race? Drew?
Indeed, let's talk about the WNBA MVP race. And BJ, if you can find it in the meantime, I need that thing we were talking about in the chat. So, but yes, we're talking about the WNBA MVP race, and it's really down to three people. Some would say two, some would say one, but I want to say that it's three because there's a lot of people that have had really good seasons, and they all three have cases to me. And I kind of made my decision on who it was going to be yesterday in a conversation with one of my friends who covers this team, and I'm just kind of all in on it now just because it makes sense because I've seen it happen before. So we're gonna go into this. Who are your three MVP candidates? Everybody should know if you're talking about three. Stewie, Asia, and then Alyssa Thomas.
Yeah,
those are your three in the equation, and you just got to see which one is going to come out on top this season. And I got to see more closely now. Shout out to Mr. BJ. Sorry as I put this off for a second. Hopefully I can get us into here. Perfect. Okay, because I had some numbers that were missing on here. I wanted to fire up the stat comparison here. Shout out to Stathead. BJ coming in clutch here. I had the stat comparison up for all three players, and you have to have a subscription to Stathead to show these statistics for all three players more in depth. You can see the general kind of overall stats and in front, however you want to shape it out, but it doesn't show all three players as per game totals and advanced per 36, per 100 possessions and all that, unless you are subscribed with Stathead. So you don't get to see this beautiful stuff down here unless you're subscribed with Stathead. You'll only see 2 out of 3. You wouldn't have seen any of this Asia stuff down here without a Stathead subscription. So once again, shout out to our lovely partners at Stathead. Make sure you go get a subscription. I believe it's about $8 a month. Go get subscribed to Stathead, and you can see all this awesome stuff too. So, you basketball writers out there, people that cover the game, this is useful. Okay, so I've got this shown here. I'll go ahead and show you guys the criteria. We're comparing players here, head-to-head stats or multiplayer comparisons. We're doing head-to-head here, we're doing both really, head-to-head and multiplayer comparisons. We don't have the head-to-head matchups like, hey, what is it, Alyssa Thomas versus Stewie? Because, it's 3 players on 3 different teams, so that stuff's not going to pop up. So it's just a multiplayer comparison.
We know that Stewie and Asia were 2-2 against each other. Yeah. I can find the other 2 here in a second.
It could be 3-2 right now because that graphic I thought was before the last game that they played.
No. It was 2-1. Stewie was 2-1, and then it was either 2-1 Asia or 2-1 Stewie. I can't remember what based on it was the Liberty that won the last matchup, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it was 2-1 Asia, and then Stewie even the series 2-2.
No. I take that back. No. It is 3 because I remember we had said on the podcast, it might have been the last episode, the Liberty had beaten the Aces 2 times in 9 days, and then they just won again recently. So that would have been, I think it's 3-2. I feel like they played each other 5 times. I don't know, man. I'm off now. But
I was
anyway,
to say I saw 2-2 earlier when I was just looking at Stewie versus Asia, but it's okay.
I did not want to get in this rabbit hole. Continuing down on the comparison on here, multiplayer comparisons, you can do it where it's just this season alone, and that's what we did to have a good comparison right at the forefront here. And if you take out the games, because the Aces have just had one more game, it's not like Alyssa and Brianna have missed one game.
Yeah.
If you take that out, all these players lead in the 3 different categories comparison in the overall stats here. You got Alyssa Thomas, total rebounds, assists, and steals a game. You got Stewie, points per game, 3-point percentage, free throw percentage, and then Asia, blocks per game, field goal percentage, and effective field goal percentage. You got a lot of players doing a lot of things, and if you flip, you'll have to read it from right to left since it's like this. You go from right to left. That's the order of your WNBA standings right now. Aces, Liberty, Sun, 1, 2, 3. And some people determine their MVP off the pecking order of that and how their team is doing. And through the NBA, that's where it's at right now. The best player on the best team has, typically kind of gotten away with the award. It hasn't been the most valuable. Yeah. And in some ways, I think that's a little bit different in the WNBA side of things, BJ. And I just want to say that it doesn't have to be like that, NBA people. It doesn't have to be that. It can be this way. It can be the proper way, where people are actually the most valuable. And all of these players are extremely valuable. I'm not going to discount that at all. They have been the MVPs the past like 3 or 4 seasons. And I mean, you can't deny how good these guys are. You can't deny it. And everybody here is a two-way player. How often do you find that, BJ, that all 3 players in the top 3 of the MVP race are complete two-way players? All of these guys are. Asia,
it's
MVP,
very rare.
Defensive Player of the Year last year. Stewie right behind her in both. Alyssa Thomas, a perennial all-defensive player and perennial all-star now as well. Probably, man, I don't want to – you can't say who the best defender is if it's not Asia here because she got the Defensive Player of the Year award. But, I mean, you got great defenders. You got great offensive players, all-around players here. I mean, but – what sticks out to me, and this is where I will lean on the NBA, BJ. And you can look. We're going to look at the numbers all day, and the numbers will help and hurt here. It will help and hurt my WNBA MVP. My MVP this season is Alyssa Thomas. It's Alyssa Thomas, and she gets the Westbrook MVP this season. That's what I've been calling it. She gets the Westbrook MVP. I mean, it's only right, guys, and that's my true justification here. Otherwise, I'd probably be saying Asia Wilson, but it's where it's at. And yes, all these beautiful numbers per 100 possessions, defensive ratings, they're all pretty close. Look at that. And then the offensive ratings, Alyssa Thomas just a little bit off. She don't shoot a single 3, but the defensive ratings, it's all close, right in the same vicinity. All the advanced statistics, steals percentage, usage, whatever little measurement you want to get there. But point blank period, guys, she's going to win the Westbrook MVP because she's doing some that just doesn't get done in this league, just like Westbrook did in the NBA when he won his MVP. And is her team the very top of the WNBA standings? No. But are they in the top 3? Absolutely. Are they one of the best teams in the WNBA? Absolutely. Does she only have one other all-star on her team helping her out, and it's her fiance on this team? Absolutely. Because Brianna Jones got hurt ages ago. It's been over 2 months at this point. Been out for the season. So the Sun, not only who have lost Jonquel Jones in the offseason, lost Brianna Jones earlier this season, and just the load just got bigger on Alyssa Thomas's shoulders when the depth left the building and the other star power she had is gone for the season. And she's been taken over and setting WNBA records, most triple doubles in WNBA history, not just in a season, in WNBA history.
Yeah.
Come on. It's that historic stuff that you want all the time. It's what you beg for. You want history to be made. She's out here making it. She's out here making it. I understand, players like Stewie Asia are racking up the points, fastest to this many points, this many blocks in franchise history. I passed my coach in this many points in franchise history and all that good stuff. And they're elite players. They are elite. But by God, if we're going to stay in connection with our NBA partners, which some people don't like to do, but we're going to do this anyway because this is how we distribute awards these days. And there's already been some questionable voting on the All-Star side of things, but we're not going to get to that. But Alyssa Thomas is the MVP this season. She gets the Westbrook MVP. That's what I'm calling it. She's just been dominant on all levels. She's nearly averaging a triple-double this season. She's 0.1 shy away from averaging a double-double. She leads all these ladies in rebounds, and she's almost got to the point where she's going to have more assists in a season than who? Courtney Vandersloot. She's passed her in one of her seasons before, but Courtney has the record. I'm not sure how close it is right now, but it is not far off. And Alyssa could do it. And if she does it, to continue to rack up the career marks and this big-time season she's had, like, the more she does it and the more the Sun just stay in the top three. I mean, they dropped down for a second with the Wings, but they got back up. The more they just stay up there and show their stuff, it's just all the more reason to, you know what? These two have their MVPs. Alyssa Thomas and the Sun. And Alyssa Thomas has been through a lot in general. She's had a historic season. She has been dominant, nearly averaging a triple-double. Are the numbers perfect? No. Could some categories be better? Sure. Could the field goal percentage be a little bit better as a person who doesn't shoot threes? Absolutely. Could the free throw percentage be better? Well, she's got a torn labrum. Leave her alone. This is the same thing a little bit on the field goal percentage, but if you do that and say leave her alone, like, well, she's out here averaging triple doubles, is good enough to go out here and hoop. Well, she's getting the Westbrook MVP. In my heart here, it's the AT MVP over here in the WNBA, but that's how I'm calling this MVP, and that's my major justification point here is she deserves it the same way Westbrook deserved it that year, because everybody knew what James Harden was doing that season and how good he was and how much he was scoring and how good he was. That prime James Harden lost his MVP award to that historic Westbrook season. Well, prime Stewie and prime Asia need to lose the MVP award this season to this Alyssa Thomas season because it is that special. And I think we don't need to take it for granted because good luck seeing it again. You could, but how often do you have a bill of health like this in a longer season at that? And maybe she'll get poked at for this season because it's going to have 4 more games. Well, you beat Sloot because you had 4 more games than she did. Well, stop doing that because the league's going to have 40 games and more for a long time, and that's going to happen sometimes. But she's still doing some phenomenal stuff, and it would really silence the haters if she did it in 36 games. And then the 4 at the end was just like, here, let me tack on like what if I do my career average or my season average, 32 more assists on top of whatever the record's going to be.
Yeah, I was just say so. She needs 19 to pass. She needs 19 to break the record.
These standings.
She's at 2. She's at 282 right now. And Vandersloot had 300 even in 2019.
She can't get in the same amount of games. The Sun have played 35 games so far. She can't get 9. Well, I don't want to say she can't.
I was just say how many games did Vandersloot play in
it was last year, right? That her record
2019.
2019. Okay.
So it was 34 games.
Well, I've already passed then. Dang.
Yeah.
I thought it was 2022. Sloots was on there. Okay.
No, 2022 Vandersloot had. Let's see. She's not on here. It was. It was 2021, and it was what she finished or what she has right now, 275.
Okay. Yeah. Dang. Well, she's already been it, but still, I mean, that's still phenomenal, man, to even be in the conversation up there and, in the top 3 of, assists in a season as a non-traditional point guard. I mean, turn point guard, but, the point forward, I mean, she's essentially the LeBron like Westbrook of this league, the forward that's out here playing point guard. I mean, like, I know, Candace Parker and, players like that have brought the ball up the floor, but like a full-time point guard is what Alyssa Thomas is doing right now. And I think her her special season is just it's worthy of the award. What are the odds that we're going to see this again? We've had the same type of historic type seasons before. I mean, we just had history last year. Asia getting Defensive Player of the Year and MVP in one season. I mean, keep setting history. Keep making history and give Alyssa Thomas a deserved MVP award. It's not like kind of years in the past where it's like, okay, Asia clearly had a better year than Alyssa Thomas. Brianna Stewart clearly had a better year than, whoever else, Alyssa Thomas in the conversation. It's not that clear.
No.
There's too much history and too much dominance and too much that Alyssa Thomas is doing in one season alone for it to be like, okay, let's definitively these two over this one because it's not.
Even if it takes her more games to pass Vandersloot, which
I don't think it matters.
I think that just says more about what Vandersloot did that season. I mean, Alyssa Thomas is averaging 8 assists a game, which is just completely, unheard of almost. But Vandersloot averaged 9 assists a game that year.
Yeah.
9 a game that year. They played 34 games, and she was 40 assists off of being 10 assists per game. Like that's just crazy. So I don't think it takes away from what Alyssa Thomas is doing, what she's done this year because she had more games. I think it should just say what Vandersloot did in 2019 is just completely dumbfounded.
Right.
And so I'll tell you, Drew, before we had this discussion, before the StatHead, the folks at StatHead, kind of really put it in perspective, I was leaning Stewie, and I think I'm right there with you. I think Alyssa Thomas definitely is in the conversation, definitely deserves it. And is she going to win it? I don't know. If it was up to us, she would.
I don't get a vote this time around, so I don't get to help decide that. But
you gotta get hold of your friends that are going to vote and
gotta ring them up like, hey, you right,
make the right decision.
MVP. Okay, good call.
AT MVP.
Yeah, that's the way to go for this season. I think. I mean, that's just I know Connecticut fans would rather have a championship for this franchise who is 0-2 in the finals right now and just sick to their stomach. LeBron started the same way. Random comparison there 0-2 finals. But there's light at the end of the tunnel, guys. But no matter what you get, I think AT deserves an MVP, and if she can lead you to a championship too, I mean, you can smile all off season long.
Oh,
or as BJ likes to say, non-playing season long. All and
it's because I'm trying to keep money out of the swear jar.
That's fair. Yep. Know about that. They catch you on any platform.
No, it's only on that platform.
Oh, okay.
Only
you're good here. You can say off.
I was to say, yeah, because we're talking about a different sport entirely. I can say off season, but with that one over there, it's only while it's during the quote unquote non-playing season. If we mention it as the other word, because there is no off season when it comes to us, and the same with us over here.
Fair enough. I mean, we literally don't have one because we got basketball year round. Yeah. Got basketball year round. When the NBA is done, it's WNBA season. When WNBA season is done, it's NBA season.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
And once again, shout out to our friends at StatHead for us to be able to use that comparison between 3 different players over the course of one season, head-to-head stats comparison. Shout out to our friends at StatHead. Go get subscribed. It's just $8 a month. You can get a free trial, too, to test it out and let you know if you like it. Want to spend that $8 a month. Yeah. $8 a month is cheap nowadays. It's cheaper than an X subscription. So go ahead and go do that.
So what's AT MVP and Asia Defensive Player of the Year?
MVP. Who defensive player of the year?
Asia.
Yeah, okay, for sure.
That's what I was going to say as at least. So
for sure. And we just gave 2 of our awards away a week early. Oh, sorry, guys. Well, we could have a sudden burst by somebody in this last week that could really change it up. I don't know. Maybe we'll
see. But if Stewie goes on a historic scoring run or something,
I think it'll be a hot topic of conversation next week with our upcoming guests. Yeah. Yes, indeed, it'll be a hot topic for sure because they are very well versed in the WNBA as well. And let's slide over into the last portion of this WNBA topic I've got in store for today. And BJ, I decided to get a little creative with this one today. I hope you like what we're about to do.
Okay.
And we're going to try and reshape the picture. I hope you have your pen and paper ready here for us.
I
To
do.
help us get along here. Oh, I accidentally took this down. There it is. Okay. So I may have to pull this to another screen. That's actually a better idea. Yes, put it up there. Okay. So I've got a playoff format picture here.
Okay.
I'll let you take a look at it officially on our screen.
Yeah.
So shout out to our Canva that we have
Yes.
for this. Our playoff format here. This is a little graphic from last year that I grabbed. Pretty sure things are going to shake out the same way. If they're not, shame on me for not looking deeper into it.
I don't think that it's changed. No.
Right. So this is your playoff format for the season, and here are your possible teams. I have another one in the uploads in case you feel frisky and think that one's going to jump into the playoff scene. I only got one, so it can only be them. If it's not them, I'm going to say, well, it's got a new take on things.
It's not the other one. So.
Okay. It's not. All right. So we're going to see if we can shake out the playoffs here. Let me back that out just a tad. Shake out the playoffs here and take a look at the schedule for the rest of the season. And this is where BJ comes in. We're going to try and we're going to have the records I've got the records of the teams right now, and we're going to do the records of these teams in their final game stretches. Okay. Final stretch of the season.
Right.
We're only going to, should we count? Oh, no, I missed a team. Oh, shame on me. I missed a team.
You missed a team?
I did. I forgot a team. Oh, man.
What did you forget?
They're in this as well. Okay. It's not a team that I had uploaded, so I'll just have to shamefully Google it right now.
You forget the links?
Yep.
Oh,
I knew I was missing one, but I don't know where to put it. It's going to be a weird spot. But let's go through the schedule here to finish out the season. There are games today. What team do you want to start with that's in the playoff picture to finish out their season and see if they can get some dubs?
Let's see. So are we just going day by day, or are we talking just a team and where they are?
We're gonna go game by game. We're taking a look at what their record is right now, and then we're gonna look at the games for the rest of the season and predict their schedule or their finish.
Okay.
And form playoff picture.
Yeah. So I was to say, I think the only way that you can see any movement with anybody in the top three is if you got Aces and Liberty that can shake out differently, but those are the only two. You can see Liberty and Sun shake out differently, but those are the only two. Sun cannot be 1, Liberty cannot be lower than 3, Aces cannot be lower than 2. Sun, I don't believe, can be any lower than 3 because they've got a 5-game lead over Dallas, and there's 5 games remaining in the season. I think so. If they win tonight, they'll lock in no lower than 3rd seed, if I'm not mistaken. So let's start at the bottom. Let's go at the bottom and see what we can do. Let's go with the Sky. Let's see if they can how they're going to finish out to see if they can get to the playoffs.
So the Sky don't play tonight. Sky play again
Sunday
against the Liberty. Do you think they take down the Liberty at home?
No, I don't.
Okay, so 0-1.
Mm-hmm.
And then they are back in action on Tuesday on the road at the Fever.
Well, considering that the Fever are going to be officially eliminated with a loss to Dallas tomorrow night, I think that the Sky are going to win that game on Tuesday. So I've got them 1-1 this far.
Going to have some backups in. Okay. After that, the Sky aren't back in action until Friday when they host the Lynx.
That's going to be a tough matchup. Backs are against the wall. I think Chicago can win that game.
Okay. All right. Remember these for when we get to Lynx and we get to what was the other team you did?
Indiana.
Liberty.
Liberty, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so 2-1 so far for the Sky through the 3 games. Then they're back in action on Sunday, the 10th, at Connecticut.
Connecticut. Yeah.
And that is their last game.
And that's going to be a loss. So I've got the Sky going 2-2, which would put their final record, Drew, at 17-23.
Okay.
Would be their final record.
17-23. All right. So let's go next to one of the teams that they played against. Let's go ahead and do the Lynx. Let's do the Lynx then.
Mm-hmm. So
the Lynx, they don't play again until tomorrow when this episode drops. They host the Dream at home.
I think they win that game, Drew. I think there's a little question as to whether Aaliyah Boston will play. I've got the Lynx winning that game.
Aaliyah Boston's on as a FIVO.
Why did I say that? Sorry.
You were thinking Fever still?
Yeah, I thought I saw something about Ryan Howard being out, but maybe
there you go. Possibly. I haven't seen that yet, but that might have been where we were going instead. But regardless, you got Lynx, it seems.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 1-0 start for the Lynx there in the first game. Next thing, they host again on Sunday the Mercury.
They'll win that.
2-0 so far, BJ said. Okay, good stretch for the Mercury so far, or the Lynx to get in position in the playoffs.
And then they lose that game to Chicago.
They lose the game to Chicago, you said. Indeed.
Yeah.
And then they'll have one final game September 10th against the Fever on the road.
And that's a win. So that's a 3-1 stretch for Minnesota.
3-1 to finish for the Lynx. Okay. Well,
so that would put the Lynx with a 20-20 record.
Yes, pretty good there.
Pretty good.
Let's go to the other team you started off with first, the Liberty. Let's finish their season off. Liberty play next tomorrow. They host the Sun.
I said that they won. Or
wait, we haven't done this yet.
Oh, I thought they were playing tomorrow, and I had them winning the game. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're just now doing the Liberty.
That's right. I had them beating Chicago. That's right.
Yeah, it was Chicago.
I think they get another win over Connecticut. They're going to lock in a top 2 seed. I've got them beating Connecticut. So they beat Connecticut. They beat the Sky.
Okay.
And then they go to Dallas.
They do. They travel to Dallas.
Do I feel a little frisky here, Drew? Man.
Oh, man. So to you, Dallas is pretty good at home this season. They've beaten the Libs. It's a big game for Dallas.
Yeah, it is. It's huge.
And for Liberty. I'm letting you pick these, buddy.
I'm going to go with Dallas. Lock in Vegas.
Oh, so 2-1 for the Liberty, right?
Yep, 2-1. They'll beat Los Angeles.
3-1 hosting the Sparks. Okay.
Yeah, they'll beat Los Angeles.
They got one more against the Mystics. They host the Mystics, the healthy Mystics.
I think they'll still beat the Mystics.
Ooh, 4-1 finish for the Liberty, giving the Aces a run for their money.
Yeah, but it won't be enough, I think, because we'll see. They need the Aces to lose out.
Okay. All right, let's keep running through these so we can get on through them here. You just talked about the Mystics. Let's go ahead and talk Mystics then. We haven't affected their season until that last one.
Yeah.
Mystics at Aces today.
And the Mystics aren't going to win that one.
Ooh, no faith in the healthy Mystics. They got EDD
back. I have faith, but I think the Aces are just that good.
Fair enough.
And the Aces winning tonight is going to lock them in as the one.
All right.
So
okay. Mystics at Sparks on Sunday.
Oh. I'm gonna take the Mystics.
The Sparks, they were the hottest team in the league for a while until they dropped their last two.
Yeah.
So you're taking the Mystics.
The Mystics, yes.
Okay, 1-1 start for the Mystics. Mystics still on the road Tuesday at Mercury.
2-1. I've got the Mystics winning that one.
Okay, Mystics finally at home September 8th on a Friday, hosting the Dream.
Okay, I said that. Let's see.
We didn't do this one yet.
Yeah, I know. Mystics. So they're going to go 3-2 in their final 5.
No, they got one more game.
Because I already said that they're going to lose to the Liberty.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, you're right.
I knew I'd done one of the last two.
3 of the 2 in your final 5. Okay. All right,
So
let's
the Mystics'
go.
final record would be 20-20 themselves.
Okay,
Watch
man,
out.
that's tough. We'll shake out these records here in a bit.
Yeah.
And formulate our playoff picture here. All right, let's go to another team, Connecticut. They host the Mercury today.
They beat the Mercury today.
They win. Then they play the Liberty. You said they lose.
Yes.
And 1-1. Then they host the Sparks on Tuesday.
And they win.
They win. That's 2-1. Then they host the Fever on next Friday.
And they win 3-1.
3-1. And then they host the Sky. What did you say about that game?
I think I had it as a loss for the Sky. So that would be a 4-1.
Yes.
For the Sun.
Yes. Should be. If that is indeed a loss.
Yeah. Yeah, the only loss to Liberty. I had the Sun beating the Sky.
Okay. Cool.
So 28 and 12.
Let's keep hashing it out. Not too many left. We're over halfway through, I think. Let's go Sparks. Sparks host the Storm tonight.
They've got to win over the Storm tonight.
Sparks win. Okay. Then it was Sparks Mystics. You said Mystics won, so 1-1. And
I had
Sparks Sun. They lost to there, so they're 1-2.
I had Liberty beating.
They're 1-3. They're falling off a cliff here.
And they beat the Seattle Storm.
And they beat
on
the
the
Storm
10.
again. So 2-3 this season.
And so that would put them at 17-23, and that's the same record, Drew, as the Sky.
We'll have to figure out what their record against each other is here at the end.
I'll look it up.
Let's see, who are we missing now?
Dallas
Wings. Wings at Fever tomorrow.
I've got the Wings winning that game, as I mentioned, knocking out the Fever from playoff contention.
Okay. And Wings will play. They will host the Liberty. You said they get that dub.
I do think they get the dub. So
he wins. And then they host the Storm next Friday. They've had some battles with the Storm, even though they aren't that good.
That's true, but I think they'll get the win there, and that makes it 3-0.
That's a good call there at the crib. They're the only ones to start off undefeated in this pick'em so far to finish the season. Then on Sunday, they visit the Dream.
Man, backs against the wall for Atlanta. I think Dallas loses that game, but they'll be okay because they're going to be a top 4 seed. I've got Dallas finishing the stretch at 3-1.
There you go. Okay, let's see. Who do we have left, BJ? Okay, Atlanta Dream.
The Dream, yeah.
Atlanta Dream. You had Dream at Lynx, and that was a dub for the Lynx.
That was, yes.
It was indeed. And then the next game for them, you had them hosting the Storm and beating the Storm. Well,
correct.
We haven't gotten there yet, actually. You do have them beating the Storm. Okay.
Yes.
So 1-1, yeah?
Yeah.
1-1. Dream at Mystics. You had the Mystics here, right?
I did. And then I have them beating Dallas in that final game.
Yeah, so 2-2 finish for the Dream?
2-2 finish for the Dream.
Okay, is that all our playoff teams? I want to make sure I didn't miss any.
I think Vegas, but Vegas is
Vegas.
With Vegas winning that game, I think they're locked in at 1 with their win tonight.
Well, I still want to go through the wins and losses. You got them beating the Mystics, yeah?
Yeah.
And you got the beating Storm on Saturday. And got them beating the Mercury on next Friday.
Yeah.
And then they host Mercury again. Yeah, they're the only ones finishing undefeated.
They're going 4-0.
That is by far the easiest schedule there. All right. So are we ready to lock in the playoff picture here, BJ? Do I need to full screen it?
Make sure that I have these records right real quick. We only have 4 games for the Wings, right? Did I write that down correct?
I think so.
Let me double check here.
I'll backtrack for you. So I'm counting 1, 2,
I meant 4.
3, 4. Nope, 5.
Yeah, so I got 4-1 is what I had. They beat Indiana both times. They beat New York. They beat SL. And then the Dream, yeah. So 4-1. Okay, make sure I got that right. I had written it down incorrectly. Okay, so
I'm gonna go ahead and put our 1 seed out there. The Aces.
Yeah.
Out there in
Liberty will be 2 at 32-8.
Okay.
Sun will be 28-12. They'll be the 3rd.
I shouldn't have resized that. I should have just put it back where it was. Okay, you said Liberty 2 seed Where are they at?
Hmm.
All the way over here. You said Sun will be the third?
Yes, Sun will be the third, and the Wings will be
Dang,
fourth.
even with a 4-1 finish for Dallas?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they're down 5 games. They'd have to win out and have the Sun
was
lose
it?
out.
Okay, I didn't realize
And the Sun have a pretty favorable slate
Heartbreaking.
themselves.
What a
So
heartbreaker. Third seed over here right behind that. And Dallas Wings a 4 seed. Look at them go.
okay.
All right. So how's the rest of it shaking out? I know the bottom isn't clear because we have a tie somewhere.
Yeah. Well, so we got after the Wings at 23 and 17, I've got the Mystics and the Lynx both tied for 5. They both have a record of 20 wins and 20 losses.
Okay.
So we'll need to figure out
The
between
head-to-head.
Washington and Minnesota. Let me see if I can do that real quick.
So just a Washington and Minnesota head-to-head?
Yeah. So let's see. The Minnesota 2 wins so far that I've seen.
Okay.
1 win.
Let me backtrack on the season here. Okay, so you said Minnesota and Washington, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, Minnesota over Washington, 1-0.
I think Minnesota would be the higher seed.
Hold on. 2-0 over Mystics. 2-1 with the Mystics.
Mhm.
And they don't play them again. So, yeah, they own the
Yeah.
series.
So Mystics would fall to 6 behind the Lynx, who would be 5.
Okay,
Look at
so
that.
Lynx are the 5 seed.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that matchup for Dallas. That's a winnable playoff series, I think.
Yeah. I think that's what you're hoping for if you're Dallas, is that they get the
yeah.
Lynx as opposed to the Mystics.
And you said the Mystics are the 6?
Yeah, they'll be down facing the Sun.
Oh, Sun fans.
Oh, boy.
Sick to see that. Okay,
So then the Dream would be 7 at 19 and 21.
Dream is a clear 7. That's a horrible first round draw. It's all bad. It's all a bad draw over there.
And then it comes down to Sky and Sparks, who have the same record.
So this is where we need another head-to-head.
Mm-hmm. Sky and the Sparks. Let's see. Sparks beat Chicago 1. Then they lost 2 to Chicago, so they're 1 and 2.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
And they lost. So the Sparks lost 3 matchups to Chicago compared to winning 1. So the Sky get the 8th and final seed.
No way.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, they have to be
because of the loss on Tuesday by 1 point, Drew. If it comes down to it, if they finish with the same record because they lost by 1 point at home, that's what's going to keep them out of the playoffs for the LA Sparks.
The disgusting 9 seed here. You get officially deleted live on the screen. And our playoff format our picture has been created. The playoff picture is now taking shape, ladies.
Awesome. Awesome. Love it.
Yes, indeed.
That was fun.
Yes, indeed. We'll post that over to Twitter today so everybody can check out the playoff picture that we came across. And it
all shakes out.
Yes, indeed.
And see if it actually does shake out that way.
Yeah, dude, that would be interesting for sure to see if that's able to do that. I was gonna see if I could throw it in here somewhere. It can't go to background, right? Where would it
could be overlay. You could put it as an overlay.
Oh, but an overlay? Okay, my bad. I was in the wrong place. Okay. That's perfect. I got it downloaded here, so we got our official shebang bang bang right here.
Shebang bang, yeah.
That's cool.
Yes.
Boom. And look at that beauty right there. A best of 3. Man, that's the best possible scenario for the Dallas Wings. That's not the Chicago Sky.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can get Chicago in any scenario.
So, unless you're playing them in the semis. But that would require an upset of all upsets.
That would be insane.
It would be.
But that would be such divine justice for Chicago fans from years ago that suffered due to the Hamby heave. The Hamby heave from half court that got launched and sent them to the next round and really kind of kicked off the Aces who they are now.
Yeah.
But there's our playoff picture, ladies and gents. We'll post that later. And we got it shaken out. Let me rehash it again. We got Aces as the 1 seed. Liberty finished 2 seed. 3 seed. Sun. Dallas Wings 4 seed. Minnesota Lynx 5 seed. Washington Mystics, the 6th seed, the Atlanta Dream, the 7th seed, and Chicago Sky, the 8th seed. There you go. There's your playoff picture for the WNBA. And we'll see if our guys next week are in agreement here. And without further ado, time to slide into some With It or Quit It.
That's right, Drew. I've got 5 questions for the man over there on the left side of the screen. That's Mr. Drew Ivory, and he's going to tell me if he is with it or if he's going to quit it.
I like being in this seat.
I can imagine you like being in the seat over there. It's fun to not know what's coming and have to react to it in real time. So
Indeed.
All right, whenever he's ready, we'll do this thing.
Ready, Freddy.
Let's go. Number 1, Drew. You find that I may have been a bit hungry when I put this With It or Quit It together. But starting off pretty easy, pretty simple, Drew. Your Taco Bell order is not complete without a crunchy taco. No matter what you're going to get, whether it's a Crunchwrap Supreme, a burrito of some sort, got to throw in a crunchy taco as well. Drew, with it? Quit it.
It's kind of a hard,
specifically a crunchy taco.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard answer because sometimes I do this. Sometimes I do this, but I can't. I have been able to live without it. But traditionally, I look at my food that I order, which is typically a customizable box, and I'm like, man, this would be great. Just add a little taco on the side to it. So I end up getting a crunchy taco. So I guess I'm gonna have to say with it because that's what I've been doing lately.
Regular crunchy taco, or do you get the Dorito coated shell?
Just depends. If I've got a reward, I get both.
Okay, sweet.
But if I have a choice, like if I'm just getting one just to add to it, it's just a regular one.
Okay.
Because the Locos Taco is like $3 or something.
Yeah, it is good, but yeah, I can imagine. All right, Drew. Number 2. After he requested a trade, we're not going to see Jonathan Taylor play a single down in this upcoming NFL season. With it or quit it?
Can I just say with it for the sake of fantasy football? Because somebody else drafted him, and it's an important person. Like, he's got a good team, and if Jonathan Taylor plays a significant role throughout the season, that can be a problem.
That's part of the reason why I didn't touch him, Drew, because of all this.
Yeah, I wasn't going to draft him either, but some people did in my league, which is great. I'll say I'm gonna say quit it. Actually, I'm gonna say quit it. I was gonna go with it, but I say quit it. I feel like I don't know that
they might figure something out.
They're gonna figure something out and to get him out of there some way.
Yeah.
Because I think they have a plan to bring in Kareem Hunt or somebody like that to fill that other role and don't have to lean on the Deion Jackson guy to take over and help them actually make the playoffs this year. So. Yeah, I'm gonna quit it on this one, but I feel like there's a really good chance of with it. So
yeah, I do too.
I'm going to quit it ultimately.
Okay, respectable. All right, Drew, number 3. We're on all of the major social platforms, of course. X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all Facebook, all of those. But Drew, you yourself personally, you find yourself spending more time on TikTok than any of the other social media apps. And that doesn't have to be on our account, be on your personal account in any form or facet, but you spend more time on TikTok than any of the others. With it or quit it?
I will say quit it because I don't get to TikTok every day. If I got to TikTok every day, it would absolutely be yes, because it ends up being an hour to 2 hours or something at a time. I'm on TikTok because I just end up just scrolling through videos. But I don't think to check TikTok throughout the course of the day because it's not like a normal social platform where I'm looking for something to read or something. It's just if I had the time to sit back and kick back and watch some TikTok, which is not
scroll.
Yeah, but yeah, so I will say no. But like if this was changed to like what app I sit at the most when I'm on it, it's definitely TikTok.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, Drew, number 4. Well, you made the bold prediction a couple weeks back as part of your What's on Drew's Mind segment. But after they've been in the kind of slump they're in, Drew, you're more invested in early season football than the fate of the Texas Rangers because they've just been stinking it up. With it or quit it.
Oh man, I'm gonna be with it, man, because this is just like, what are they doing? It's just, they went from being like the hottest team in baseball to just being the worst team in baseball on that losing streak. And
Yeah,
it's just
they did win the series in New York.
Guys, the freaking Round Rock, and just like, come over here, see if you can get us from not sucking right now.
They did win the series in New York against the Mets, but because they lost that last game, they're one game behind Houston and Seattle. Seattle went on the best August they've ever had in franchise history or something like that. That's
I saw that and shared that earlier.
Yeah. So there's still a lot of time to make up the ground, but I mean, when they were losing, I was like, you know what? It's football. Football's back. I got something else to distract me, so I'm not gonna let them, break my heart yet again. I'm gonna focus my attention elsewhere.
It's been a sad, sad time. They broke my heart live because I had to, when I was reading sports and got to pro sports, I went to the MLB, and that was my story that I had to grab. Rangers lost, 5-3 to the Twins. That's great. I get to tell everybody around here who is Minnesota fans that my team just lost to you. How awesome is that?
All right. Last but not least, Drew, number 5. Well, Drew, you've been in South Dakota now for over a month, right? It's been 6 weeks almost?
Over a month. Yeah, it's been at least 6 weeks since I got here.
Yeah. So the thing that you found to miss most about Texas in the last 6 weeks since you've been acclimating to your new situation up there is Bluebell ice cream. With it or quit it?
You saw me mouth that with you, right?
Yes.
With it.
I mean, considering what you asked for your birthday, which is like, I'm going to have to wait until I get paid before I can get that for you.
It's with it because just all the ice cream in the freezers just looks like foreign. It just looks so foreign to me. I mean, there's another thing that's a severe problem, and it's probably more of a problem because I eat more of that than the ice cream nowadays. So can I actually reround my answer and go to quit it now? Because it's salsa, man. It's salsa. Salsa here is so poop. So I haven't gotten out to too many restaurants. Only a couple. I was taken to a bar the first day, a bar place that has food and things like that. But a Mexican restaurant that's walking distance from the job. And dude, I came home with some quesadillas one day. Those quesadillas are pristine and delicious, by the way. But I came home, I ate those quesadillas, and it comes with chips and hot sauce. Typically you get complimentary chips and hot sauce with it to go order, whatever. And, from the last time I went up there, somebody took me up there to eat when I first got here, and I had the salsa. It wasn't spicy. It was kind of bland, but nothing crazy, and it never upset my stomach or anything like that. I'm not leading to something that's going to say it upset my stomach, but I left the chips and salsa on the table. I didn't eat it with the quesadilla because I was too full and I was going to save it for later. BJ, I left that salsa on the table, and the cup expanded later on. And it's not like overnight. It was just a few hours or something, just sitting on the table. And I've got a picture that I can send you. It's in a little plastic little hot sauce container, and it expanded from top and bottom. It was so concerning. I'm like, I just got this a few hours ago. What if I would have eaten this?
Is it going to blow up?
If I would have left it there overnight, I could guarantee it would have blown up, I think. I feel like it definitely would have. I've never seen anything like that before. What is in that? What could be in that? And I don't know how it didn't upset my stomach the first time I had it. But yeah, that's the situation right there. So yeah. I would a long roundabout way to say quit it because of the salsa. I'm more desperate to get that.
Yeah, I get it.
But really, it's sad that there's no ice cream down here, and it's way more likely of a scenario for somebody to be able to send me some salsa as opposed to send me some ice cream.
Yeah, I would say you could probably ask for salsa in your next care package.
Literally, or I could have I think I might have been sent a recipe to make some. I could just, if I got the time on this 3-day weekend, whip up my own salsa. But
and just put it in the fridge to keep it, pristine until you want to have some more.
Yeah, and I'm not a chunky salsa guy, so I don't like to go to, like Walmart and get the paste and things like that. Some people would put in tacos or whatever. There's just big chunks of peppers and onions and things in there. I'm like, I'm good. I want salsa. What?
Yeah.
But
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, that's where they're quit, Drew, and that means that's our show today.
Yep, and that was an extremely long explanation there. What's wrong with it? Just extending things. I don't know. But it is indeed the episode. This one almost mashed in around the association link because, like, what is life here? But
it was the playoffs, I think, was what may have taken it quite a bit.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Making the whole playoff bracket and stuff.
And the preseason schedule.
Yeah.
But, I mean, good conversation.
The preseason schedule wasn't that long. It wasn't that bad.
Hey, it went about
Usually
20-25.
lately when we've been getting to BJ's best, it's been that at 50 minutes and stuff on there. So I beat it by like 13 minutes this time. But yeah, but it was good. We made the good little playoff picture, as you see right there, ladies and gentlemen. It's very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's so pretty. And that is the end of the episode, guys. Appreciate everybody joining us here for the episode. And doggone it, this is at least 3 weeks in a row now. I did not start off the episode with shouting out the socials, and that's what I wanted to do. And I've got to add it in the outro now. Make sure y'all follow us on X right there at _Lowdown. That's THA_Lowdown. And follow the Lowdown Network's shows. We got a little basketball hiatus from college basketball. Not sure what's going on right there. Hopefully they're coming back here soon. And golf is figuring out a host situation. Juror actually doesn't have as much time to do golf as a teacher or do the golf show as a teacher now. So he's kind of stepping away. And we might have a pro golfer stepping in, Papa T-Mac. So that's hopefully something that we can gel together and have that for the Lowdown Golf. So be expecting a new face on the Lowdown Golf from this point forward. But give us all a follow at Lowdown Network _ over on X. And everybody else, I mean, you can follow us on all the socials at the Lowdown Network as well. New content coming all the time, as much as we can get it out to you when we're not calling football games and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, indeed. So appreciate everybody joining us for another episode. We'll catch you again next week for another episode of the Lowdown Sports Show.